Out of nowhere, I got a text from my wife that read, "I want a divorce. From now on, all communication should go through my lawyer." I stared at the screen for a moment, then simply typed back, "Understood." Then I logged into our banking apps, and started making changes. I cancelled every credit card she had access to. She wasn't a co-owner, just an authorized user on my accounts. I stopped the monthly discretionary allowance I used to send to her personal bank account. Shut off the automatic transfer right then and there. 72 hours later, her lawyer was blowing up my phone in a panic. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm 45 years old, and right now, I'm just trying to wrap my head around all of this. Mostly, I'm running on autopilot. Oddly enough, I feel calm. Detached, almost. Like my body's going through the motions while my brain is still buffering. 2 days ago, Monday afternoon, I was deep in Excel spreadsheets when my phone buzzed. It was Megan, my wife of 17 years. She's 40. The message was short and surgical. "Chris, I want a divorce. Please direct all future communication to my attorney, Mr. Wallace. His contact info will follow." Just like that. We'd had dinner the night before, chatted about our next weekend plans, laughed a little. Everything seemed normal, routine, even. And now this? I stared at her message for what felt like 5 straight minutes. The emotions hit like waves: shock, hurt, confusion, anger, all bubbling under the surface. But on top just cold, hard clarity. She made the rules, lawyers only. So I matched the tone. Replied with a simple, "Understood." Then I got practical. If we were going legal, then the informal stuff, anything based on trust or assumptions, was over. We'd always handled our finances separately for the most part. A habit we picked up watching both our parents' divorces go down in flames. She had her own bank account. I had mine. But she also had supplemental cards on a couple of my credit accounts, cards I gave her access to, not shared ownership. So I logged in, flagged the cards, revoked her authorization, and marked them as cancelled. That monthly transfer I used to send her for personal spending. Cancelled it. We had a bunch of shared subscriptions, Netflix, Prime, that kind of thing, all under my name. Logged out of every device. Changed all the passwords. If she wants to keep streaming, she can set up her own accounts. The car she drives is leased under my name. Insurance too. I didn't cancel the insurance, too risky, but I made a note to talk to my lawyer about transferring the lease as soon as possible. The gas card she used? Tied to one of the credit cards I just cancelled, so useless now. The whole process took maybe half an hour. I wasn't trying to be petty. I was just reacting to the new situation she'd laid out. She made the choice. Lawyers only. That means everything goes through official channels now. No more assumptions. No more informal support. She drew the line, I just acknowledged it. About an hour later, her lawyer's contact info showed up in my inbox. I forwarded it straight to Ms. Lee, the divorce attorney a colleague had recommended to me. She's known for being sharp. I sent her a quick email. Received text from wife demanding divorce. She specified legal contact only. Need urgent guidance on next steps and asset protection. Ready to retain. Then I wrapped up the work I was doing, went home, and found the house completely empty. She must have packed and left while I was at the office. Slept fine that night, oddly enough. Fast forward to Thursday afternoon. My phone rang, unknown number, but I had a hunch. "Hello. Is this Chris Reed?" came a clipped voice. "Speaking. This is Mr. Wallace. I represent Megan Reed. My client is encountering some difficulties." I stayed calm. "Go on." He explained that her credit cards weren't working. Her funds had been suddenly cut off. He called it highly irregular, said the status quo should have been maintained during separation. I kept my voice level. Mr. Wallace, on Monday my wife texted me and declared she wanted a divorce. She made it very clear that all communication must go through you. I acknowledged and followed that request. The informal financial setup we had ended the moment she issued that directive. Any future support will be discussed formally between your office and my attorney, Ms. Lee, whom I've already retained. I heard some shuffling papers on his end. Then he said, she needs access to funds immediately, for basic necessities and housing. I blinked. Wait, she doesn't have a place to stay? That's not relevant, he replied, tone turning cooler. Cutting her off without warning was a breach of good faith. My wife unilaterally ended the marriage via a text message, I said, and laid down the lawyer's only rule. That ended the trust, the open line of communication, and the assumptions tied to it. She made this cold and legal. So now we're staying in that lane. If she wants financial support, we'll do it through legal filings, not frantic phone calls about declined charges. There was a pause. My client will be requesting emergency financial relief, he said, stiffly. She's entitled to make that request, I replied. Please direct all filings to Ms. Lee. You should already have her contact information. Another pause. I do, he said. Very well. Good day. My heart was pounding. The adrenaline had kicked in. But beneath the rush, I felt something else, a strange sense of validation. She chose this route. She's getting exactly what she asked for. Just waiting now to hear from Ms. Lee. Megan's part-time graphic design gig barely covers the cost of crashing on a friend's couch. It's more hobby money than income. Before she even got a lawyer, or bothered to talk to me, I told her that anything financial would now go through her attorney and mine. That's the cold, maybe even spiteful process, but she wanted it. After 17 years, it felt cruel. She was emotional and made what I think was a big mistake. The lawyers only directive. That wasn't just harsh, it was specific and unnecessary. Hiring Mr. Wallace is also a poor move. It's been a week since Megan sent that text, and as expected, things escalated fast. Ms. Lee got back to me the same day Mr. Wallace called. She's sharp, confirmed that everything I did made sense based on Megan's own message. Her advice, document everything. Mr. Wallace's first official move landed that Monday, a formal request for emergency temporary spousal support and exclusive use of the marital home, yeah, the same one she already walked out of. The amount they asked for was absurd. Basically, they wanted me to pay for her old lifestyle, a new place to live, and her legal fees. Peak entitlement. Ms. Lee fired back with a response that was grounded in reality. She offered a much lower temporary support figure, based on actual needs, not wishful thinking. She pointed out that Megan had voluntarily left the home, which I still live in, and that I'd only acted in direct response to her lawyers only rule. That's when the personal attack started. Megan's best friend Jennifer called. I answered, hoping maybe she had some actual info. Bad call. Chris, what the actual hell, she started. No greeting, just rage. Hi, Jennifer, I said, already tired. Megan's on my couch. You cut her off, she said. She couldn't even buy groceries. She's basically homeless now. I kept calm. Jennifer, she sent me a text demanding a divorce and clearly said all communication must go through her lawyer. I respected her wishes. You know she barely works. How's she supposed to survive? She shot back. She's terrified. But again, this was the path Megan chose. I'm just walking it. There was silence for a while. Then Jennifer said, she still deserves support. You always took care of her. And I would have talked through things like adults, if Megan hadn't blown it all up over text and gone straight to legal. She set the rules. We're following them. She's going to take you for everything, Jennifer said. She's welcome to try, I said, steady. She can file whatever she wants. My attorney will handle it. This conversation's over. Now I'm the villain, apparently, for sticking to her instructions. The version of the story she's telling paints her as the helpless victim. But yesterday I got a bank alert. Someone tried to pull money from an old savings account. Turns out we had one joint account we'd forgotten about. It wasn't active, just sitting there with maybe $500 in it. Megan must have found the debit card and tried to drain it. The bank flagged the sudden activity and froze the account when I explained we were in the middle of a divorce. It's not about the money. It's the fact that she tried. While her lawyer accuses me of acting in bad faith, she's out here making backdoor moves. Ms. Lee said it actually helps us. Shows Megan's not just sitting back, she's actively working around the legal process she demanded. We're still waiting on the hearing for emergency support. Megan's still couch surfing with Jennifer. Mr. Wallace is probably realizing his client didn't want fair process, she expected unlimited money with no questions asked. The shock has worn off. Now it's just determination. This is going to be rough. 3 weeks later. Things got uglier. We had the emergency support hearing last week. Megan showed up looking worn out, wouldn't look at me. Mr. Wallace made a show of painting her as broke and emotionally damaged by my supposed cruelty. Ms. Lee calmly presented the text where Megan said all communication must go through attorneys. She laid out the bank statements, showed that I cancelled her cards and allowance after the text. She proved I kept paying the mortgage, utilities, lease, insurance, all major expenses. Then there was Megan's attempt to drain that old joint account. And we showed her freelance income too. She wasn't broke, just didn't have spending cash. The judge wasn't buying the drama. Asked Megan why she never tried to talk to me. She mumbled something about being intimidated. In the end, the judge ruled in our favor. Temporary support was set way closer to our number than theirs. Enough for basics and some legal costs. Nothing close to the lifestyle she wanted. Judge even said her own choices contributed to where she's at. Honestly, felt like I narrowly avoided disaster. Then the real games began. My HR got an anonymous complaint. Said I was misusing company resources for legal stuff, acting unstable. Total lie. I'd only used my own phone and laptop. Thankfully, my boss had my back. HR reviewed the logs, nothing there. We had a short talk. I explained what was happening. They dropped it. Ms. Lee took note. Hard to prove who did it, but it fits the pattern. Megan's mom called, crying. Said I was cruel. Said the judge was unfair. Told me to give Megan more money. Said, think of everything she gave you. I gave the same answer, she wanted this handled legally. I'm doing what she asked. She called me heartless and hung up. They're leaning hard on emotional pressure now. But I'm done reacting. Time to get ahead of this and lock things down legally. Ms. Lee sent a letter to Mr. Wallace about the car. Since temporary support is in place, Megan needs to take over the lease or return it. I stopped payment starting next cycle. Insurance would end in 30 days. On the house, I filed for formal exclusive use. She left and didn't get any claim to it in court. Started the valuation process for sale or buyout, though she likely can't afford a buyout. We're pushing for full financial discovery. There may be hidden income or assets. If she's hiding things, that's a legal problem now. I've been logging every manipulative call, every shady move. Dates, times, summaries. Ms. Lee says it all helps. Shows a pattern. Could affect the final settlement and who pays what in legal fees. This isn't revenge. It's about handling this by the book, because they've clearly decided to play dirty. That HR complaint crossed a line. No more passive defense. We're taking proactive steps now. Then Megan broke her own rule. She texted me directly. Chris, you can't take the car. How am I supposed to get around? Please stop this. I didn't reply. I took a screenshot, sent it to Ms. Lee, and responded the only way I needed to. Per your original instruction, all communication must go through legal representation. Please contact Mr. Wallace. No response. It's been 7 months since her text. The divorce was finalized last month. Feels like forever ago. The last half year was all legal trench warfare. Peterson stalled. Megan played the victim. They shot down every fair offer. The car became a fight. She couldn't qualify for the lease but wouldn't return it. Peterson claimed it was essential. Ms. Lee reminded him that temporary support doesn't include transportation expenses. Deadline passed. I told the leasing company I wasn't paying. She wasn't an authorized driver. They repossessed it, right from outside Jennifer's place. Cue frantic calls from Jennifer and Megan's mom. I ignored them. Forwarded everything to Ms. Lee. Megan was furious, but trapped by her own inaction. I was granted exclusive use of the house. We sold it pretty quickly. Equities in escrow while we settled division. Megan demanded more, said she was financially disadvantaged. So we went to full discovery. Here's the kicker, when we pushed for full financial disclosure, Megan finally had to open up. Turns out she had a separate savings account I never knew about, money her parents had been quietly contributing to over the years, plus a few inherited stocks she'd apparently forgotten she had. It wasn't a fortune, but definitely more than the $500 in that old joint account she tried to drain. Mr. Wallace argued it was all separate property. But Ms. Lee came through. She showed clear signs of commingling and pointed out that some marital funds had enabled her to keep that account intact. That was enough to get the judge to consider it marital property. We still couldn't prove who filed the anonymous complaint with my work, but the judge took note. The timing and tone of it were shady enough to paint a clearer picture of the overall behavior. We didn't win damages, but it fed into the bad faith narrative. In the end, we settled right before the contested trial was supposed to begin. The judge had already shown signs of losing patience with Megan during the pre-trial talks. She must have realized she was staring down a worse outcome, and maybe even having to cover my legal fees. She backed down. The final agreement was fair. The house equity was split close to 50-50ths, though I got a slight edge since her hidden assets were factored in. Those stocks she tried to quietly keep got classified as marital and were divided accordingly. She kept a small portion of her personal savings. Spousal support. Time limited. 2 years of rehabilitative alimony, way less than what she originally demanded. Just enough to help her get on her feet, not enough to maintain the lifestyle she used to have. And it's contingent on her making an effort to support herself. As for the legal fees, we each covered our own. Not ideal, but considering the alternatives, still a win. I avoided having to fight for reimbursement, and I came out ahead where it mattered. Megan's living in a modest apartment now. From what I hear, she's working more, constantly complaining about money. Word is, Jennifer's pulled back. Turns out, Megan became more of a burden than a friend. Her parents are probably still helping, but I don't know for sure. Not even a hint of regret. Megan still seems confused that I didn't just keep bankrolling her life after she nuked the marriage. The entitlement ran deep. She genuinely believed she was owed the lifestyle, no matter how she chose to end things. It was a rough 7 months, draining, expensive, stressful. But I'm good. The peace that came with closing that chapter is massive. I kept my job, my reputation, and got a fair share of the assets. More than that, I learned I can handle a crisis with a clear head. I've been hitting the gym, seeing friends Megan always seemed to dislike, and enjoying my quiet, peaceful home. There was no dramatic revenge arc. Just steady, deliberate progress, me doing exactly what needed to be done, step by step, calmly and legally. She wanted things cold and formal. She insisted on lawyers. So that's what she got, along with the full weight of the financial and legal reality she seemed to forget came with that choice. In the end, there was no big victory lap. Just clarity, boundaries and closure. That's enough for me. The noise has faded. I kept my integrity, handled things on my terms, and came out stronger for it. Time to move forward, with peace, purpose, and no baggage.